I can, everyone always says have your elevator pitch ready. Well, that was my elevator pitch. And when I did that little pause, and Roseanne got that response. So I thought, great, I'm gonna put that on the cover. My publisher was like, oh no, you can't do that. Roseanne will find out, and she'll come after you and us, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, that's good, right? That's publicity. Let her sue me. So the compromise was, it's on the back. And that's another lesson I've learned when I teach writing and acting is pick the battles. And that was not a battle that I needed to go to war with. I got it on the book, and I do pitch it everywhere I go.
What's even funnier that way?
Yeah. But I could think no one's gonna really look. Who looks at back to your bookstore? Only people are turning it around. Typically.
Yeah.
Are turning it around? Okay. Then the joke works. Okay. Then it's all good.
How did you get that job? And was it as volatile as it was known?
Yes. I'm still living with PTSD from it. When I've worked with other actors in plays, and any actress says, "Can we talk?" I'm like, no, I'm scared of you. So we were actually offered season 1 of that show, and we turned it down. John Goodman and Laurie Metcalf were not attached; it was just her. And I wanted to develop a show with Roseanne after seeing her on the Tonight Show, and I called my agent, and he had the wise words of, "Nobody wants to see," I'll say large, he didn't use that word, "woman on television in a leading role." We fired that agent. And but then when it came to us, they wanted a really long contract, 8 years. And we're like, we can't commit to 8 years. We didn't really know what the show was. And then it went on, and at the beginning of the show, she was firing all the writers. She was fighting every week with them. Carsey Werner was the production company. They were not even allowed on set by the time we got there. So we got, by season 5, it came back around to us, and we fought to get that job, and we got on there, and we had a great year. It was really wonderful. It was the last year that Tom Arnold and Roseanne were together, so that whole marriage blew up 1 week. That was crazy. She kicked him out of the house, and he lived in an apartment on Wilshire Boulevard, and he called us over to work on a Santa Bernard pilot. Tom Arnold, I think, in my estimation, gets a bad rap. He has this crazy energy. He says he's sober, but I don't know. I did go to his 5th year sobriety party, and I almost knocked out Hugh Grant's front teeth. I was holding a Perrier bottle because this was a sobriety party, and I went to hug Tom and hear Hugh Grant, and I was like, and I heard clink on his teeth. They were filming what was the movie? 2 months? I got the month right, yeah. And all of a sudden I'm touching Hugh Grant's teeth and face, and I can't touch Hugh Grant's face. Tom Arnold really kept that show going. He was the energy. He was always in the writers' room and checking. Roseanne was a multitude of medication, and you'll read a story that's shocking.
He left after that year too, and
well, no, they divorced. They got divorced. So the odd thing is that Tom picked up our options for the next year, and then she thinks she's caught him with their development executive having an affair. I don't know. Kicked him out of the house. They got divorced. He got kicked off the show, and so he was no longer a producer. I wanted to sue and say, you picked up our option, you have to bring us back. She did not want to have anything to do with anybody connected with Tom. So we were kind of, in a divorce, we kind of ended up in Tom's camp for some reason. My writing partner did not like working there. He was like, I don't want to sue, I just want to let's move on.
So I had read once years ago that she made the writers wear numbered shirts so she could be like, number 2, you're fired, get out.
Yes, I still have that shirt. So
you were number
13. So my birthday is October 13th. If anybody wants to get gifts, I accept flowers, vodka, anything. I went to vodka twice. I didn't get the wrong idea.
Or the right idea.
Okay. Yeah. Or bourbon, right? That's your thing?
Choice.
Okay. Yeah. So the first day on the set, Tom and Roseanne funny idea that she would line up the 21 writers, and they'd make T-shirts with each number of them, and we had to stand around and they would give T-shirts out to each of us, so they wouldn't have to learn our names, and they could go 13, you're fired. I did not know that during the line. I was like, oh, numbers, I'm 13. I have to get 13. Get out of my way. Got into 13, and as I'm getting up there, I'm hearing the story, and the writers are all getting mad and growling. And then they give to me like, oh, that's what it is. That's learn that. None of us
is just like a big giant 13.
It's like just like you would like for a sports thing, yeah. So I never wore it ever, and the only time I wore it was during the recent Writers Guild strike, and they had a Roseanne reunion ticket, and I wore the 13. And I'm holding my espresso, and Tom Arnold comes up, and he goes, Stan, he goes to hug me, and it's like, espresso. And I thought, if it's gonna have a stain, that's